Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Ross Sr. And this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that's listening all over the world. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Ross Cloud Podcast. Listen, we have a very, very, very special guest with us. We have the one and only Mr. Let me put some respect on that.
You good?
Dr. Joel Clark. How are you, sir?
I'm great. What about yourself?
Man, I cannot complain, man. First of all, thank you.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Man. We pride ourselves on bringing folks in to have amazing stories. And then also the premise of the show is to help people become better through other people's stories,
awesome.
through a dialogue that most times you wouldn't hear probably in the setting of the pulpit.
That's right. Exactly.
So we pride ourselves on being outside of the box, being a little edgy, but at the same time having a little class with it too.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
We try to do that. So again, man, trust me, it's truly an honor, man. When I was looking through your bio, you have an impeccable bio, man, and it's just absolutely amazing to see what God is doing for you in this time, in this season in your life, man.
Yes,
but not only that, man, you know, we don't want folks to think that it was just easy.
That's right.
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Where you from, Joe?
Okay, I'm from Reedsville, North Carolina.
I'm gonna say it like brother, David Callis said.
Yeah.
In the great city.
He said the great city.
He said the great city.
It's the metropolis of Rockingham County. That's it.
I like it.
So I'm from Reedsville, North Carolina. Grew up there all my life.
Okay.
Was of course, born in Greensboro. Then my mom and dad moved us to Reedsville. So
Sure thing.
basically, you know, by way of Greensboro, grew up in Reedsville, and I've been there my whole life. Graduated high school.
Okay.
And after high school, I knew I wasn't ready for college.
Yeah.
So I signed up and I went to the military. Went to the Marine Corps.
Okay, thank you for your service.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And so I did the Marine Corps. No, I didn't want to just sign up for something and couldn't, you know, maybe get out of it, be locked in. So I did sign up and I went reserve.
Okay.
But yet and still, I went reserve, then got put on active duty doing Iraqi war. But I didn't go to Desert Storm. Okay. But at the same time, the coup was going on in Russia, so they sent us to Norway to help guard the Norwegian flank from Russia. We was 150 miles away from Russia, helping the Norwegian Marines come back. Yeah. And then they sent us to Camp Lejeune to take care of the base while the other guys were on active duty. So we did that and everything. Then after that was over, just came back to being a civilian. And then just, you know, worked at that time, it was textiles, everything, you know, Cone Mills, Burlington Industries, worked at both of those facilities. Okay. And then just moved on from there from job to job till I finally, you know, just continued to grow.
Absolutely. Finding purpose, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
So let me ask you this.
Sure.
How would you say the military impacted your life? How did that help shape and mold who you are today outside of, we know, God at the forefront, but how did that shape you?
It gave me discipline.
Yeah.
You know, my nature, I'll just say it like this. My nature, I don't like nobody to tell me what to do.
Come on, yeah.
You can suggest or ask, but when you tell me, I immediately just shut down and I won't do it, even if it's the right thing to do.
I got it.
So there in the military, you know, especially in the Marine Corps,
yes, sir,
that was different because I had buddies that went to the Army, and no shade on the Army.
Oh, not at all.
But
not at all.
they, you know, in the Marine Corps, it was certain things we could do. We couldn't use the telephone. We had to ask. We had to request permission to speak before we asked the question. So that taught me. It disciplined me. You know, grew me up in that area. Yeah. And then it made me feel that I could do anything. Yeah, because they were like, you know, Marine Corps, they was like, you could run through that wall. That's how the mentality that they, you know, trained you in. And whatever they said, you know, in boot camp, you did it. No questions asked. You know, because if you talk back, you know, subject to some other things that might happen, you know, I can't say on camera because I don't want them in trouble, you know. But yeah, it grew me up. And out in the Marine Corps, out of boot camp, they could pick up to two people to be meritoriously promoted, because when you graduate boot camp, you graduate as a private. When I graduated boot camp, which was 3 months later, I was one of the 2 out of 54 that I got meritoriously promoted to PFC, private first class.
I like it, yeah.
So I came out, and one of my drill instructors, he thought I was active duty, but on the last 2 weeks before, because we got paid like right before we got ready to graduate, and they were like, all full time, get in the front, weekend warriors get in the back. So when I went in the back, he was like, recruit Clark, he was like, you're a weekend warrior. I was like, yes sir. And he was like, oh my God, he was like, I thought you would be full time, but I still was meritoriously promoted. And man, that right there, that even showed me that they saw something in me that I didn't see.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. No offense. I was in the Army. None taken whatsoever.
Yeah. None at all to you either.
No, but to your point, you're absolutely right. It's just totally two different worlds.
Yeah.
In the Army, you do have a little bit more freedom to do more civilian things.
Right.
It's more like a 9-to-5 job.
Right.
I can honestly say that. It was basic training. Basic training is basic training.
Right.
So after basic training, I will say it wasn't so bad.
Right.
And a couple of my buddies that went to the Marine Corps, some of the things that they were telling me, I was like, wow.
Yeah. Okay, because when I came back home, one of my buddies, he went to the Army. Yeah. And I was still at home with my mom and them. I went straight after high school and did everything.
Okay.
And he called me and I was like, yo, what you doing?
Yeah.
He was like, yo, man, I'm at boot camp. I said, how you on the phone? That tripped me out because we couldn't call. We got 3. Because when I went in October. So I was going for Thanksgiving, Christmas, woke up, it was 1990. I'm like, So, but that shaped me. You couldn't, and on Christmas, we got that one phone call. Them. They wasn't at home. You didn't get to talk to them.
Yeah, you just didn't get the phone call.
Yeah.
But man.
But other than that, I'm thankful for it because I needed it.
Yes,
I really did.
Yeah.
I needed it, and it shaped me to be focused.
Yeah,
to go after whatever.
Yes.
To endure.
Yes.
Yeah, and to put up with stuff that you normally wouldn't put up with.
You normally wouldn't put up.
Yeah,
with. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It does teach you to continue to press against that wall.
That's right.
Until it comes down.
That's right.
In the literal sense.
Exactly.
No matter how tough it is.
Yes, sir.
No matter how hard it is.
That's
through
right.
Crying, through pain, through sweat, tears, hurting muscles.
Whether it was the Marines, Army, Air Force, whatever. Until you experience it.
Until you experience it.
You won't know.
You
won't know.
That's right. So I think that's a beautiful story. I've always said that I felt like young men should go at least 2 years out of their life.
I agree.
Because you get a chance, mature. You mature. You have to mature real fast.
Real fast. To piggyback off what you said.
Yeah.
If they just go to boot camp, just do the boot camp, either one, whatever you choose,
and come on home. Yeah, get that GI Bill.
Yep, yes, sir.
Go to school if you choose to do so.
That's right.
Get you a good trade if you want to, and then come home. I declare to be so beneficial.
Yeah,
my life was turned totally around afterwards. Even though I made some, I probably erred in some other areas.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Oh yeah, I know I did. I got all the T-shirts to prove that. Mental T-shirts.
Come on, bro.
You
know? So then here you are now, man. You come home. You're working in textiles. You got your civilian job. You're back into civilian life.
Civilian life, yeah.
And then that's really where life begins.
Right.
When you come home. Because you're used to them 3 hots in a cot.
Yes, sir.
Kind of somebody telling you what to do, but you're still independent.
Mm-hmm.
You get that haircut.
Yes, sir.
Free meals.
Yes, right. Love them free meals.
Yes, sir.
Love them free meals.
Staying on barracks, you ain't got no...
you don't have...
just got a nice car.
That's it.
Oh, you're going to have your nice whip.
Or riding with one of your buddies, which is what I did,
Yeah. So, I mean, it's they take care of you.
Yeah, they do.
But when you come home, that's when the real hits.
That's when the real hits.
Yeah.
You come back home in the 90s, getting a job, making $7 an hour working in Burlington Industries. I was up in Stokesdale working there.
Yeah.
Paid every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Every year you get a raise, then the health insurance go up, and you're like, well, was it really a raise?
Was it really a raise?
Oh, you like. So then you making that money, and then you start seeing the other things that's happening during the 90s.
That's right.
Then you got the crack that comes on the scene. You got the drugs that come on the scene.
Got everything.
Now, mind you, just being transparent.
Sure. Right. Please do.
Of course, in the military, even before the military, man, I was drinking anyway, even underage. Man. Before the military, in high school.
You would grown men.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about high school.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha. High school.
Say no more.
So then you get in the military.
Oh, it's up.
It's up from there. Yeah. So then that continued. So then dealing with then seeing everything that was going on doing that area back out in the civilian life. Sure. I was like raised in the church. Went to church. You had to go. Yes, everybody in the house had to go.
Yes,
even my dad, he didn't go. You going?
You going?
So I was raised in church. I'm with you. Knew God. Got saved early. But growing up and everything and whatnot. And so even in that, when I saw that lifestyle, the drug lifestyle, I was like, that ain't the right thing to do and everything, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
But my pockets were thin. I'm just being honest, Had a car payment, you check at Burlington, take that whole check for after them 2 weeks, take my car payment, right? So I'm just like, something got to give. So then I tried it, did it. Done it, kept doing it, boom. And just, by the grace of God, I didn't go to prison.
Thank God.
I had friends and stuff that did get locked up, right?
But you didn't.
But I didn't. Not only that, then I used it, right? Used the cocaine, used the crack, and so forth and everything. But the thing about it, I never did it unless I was around one particular person.
I get that.
I could leave that person's house who was constantly buying. I mean, buying like hundreds, thousands of dollars of it. I'd leave and be jonesing for it, but wouldn't touch it. But then when I would go back over to their house, then I would do it. But I was getting the money, but using his stuff. He done bought it.
That environment.
That environment.
That environment was pulling you in, though.
So in that, I was with this guy, and he used to have marijuana about a pound. So, but he smoked, crack.
I understand.
So I would swap him. I'm like, yo, I smoke weed. Yo, you give me this and I'll give you that. Boom, let's swap out. Anyway, I was over his house one night, and I'll never forget this. I was in his bathroom, and I was snorting cocaine. And I snorted so much cocaine till my body went into convulsions. And what do? God, if you get me out of this,
I won't do it no more.
I won't do it no more.
I'm done.
And man, after that, man, we was going to work that day, and I had a bag of cocaine in my pocket. And we walked by this big drain, drains in the parking lot that runs the water. I just dropped it down in there, and I was like, man, I can't keep doing this. So then after that, continued to, let that go. Thank God I didn't have to do rehab, didn't have to do anything. Boom, that was gone. And that lifestyle it bring a whole lot of other stuff, but yet and still, you feel invincible. You got money. With money comes everything else.
Yes, sir.
So that part of my life, man. I'm not, and I'll just be honest, I'm grateful for it because I went through it.
Yes.
Because even now, I don't look down on nobody that does it. I don't look down on a drug dealer. I don't look down on somebody that's addicted, that's an alcoholic. They got certain situations that are bound because guess what? I've been there. So I can sympathize with you. I can have mercy on you because I know God had it on me. That's the way that's just me. That's the way I look at it.
I'm so glad that you shared that. And thank you for your transparency. Because that's going to help somebody else who may be struggling with that same type of addiction. Or whatever it is. They may have something tight going on in their life right now. They may not be bold enough to be as transparent as you are. But your freedom is going to help somebody else be free, man. So
no
I
doubt.
thank you for that transparent moment.
Yes,
so
sir.
Here you are now. Freedom has happened.
Freedom happened.
Is going well.
Right.
How do you find yourself in the pulpit, or did entrepreneurship become first?
No.
Well, you know what? Entrepreneurship was already there.
It was there. It was just
the wrong
direction.
Okay.
That's it. And I didn't know that.
Sure.
And I didn't know that. So God called me in 1992.
Gotcha.
Well, let me take that back. It was 92, 89, between 92 and 94.
Man, it's something about them 90s.
Yeah, them 90s, man. Because I just came, and then after that, I rededicated my life after that situation. Went back to church. Came back to God, went back to church.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about it, man, is I was still at home with my parents, and it was my mom. She was at work, and I was getting up that morning to go to work, and I heard somebody call my name, say Joel. And I was like, so I got up. My dad was in the bathroom. I said, "You called me?" He said, "I ain't called you." Mm-hmm. And so on my way to work, I was driving, and I just threw my hands up in the air, and I said, "God, I just give it to you." And it was like a big weight went up off of me. So that was that starting point where I came back.
Understood.
So then God called me. I know when he called me, I was getting dressed to go hear my pastor in from Reedsville. He had a revival in Greensboro. I was getting dressed. Mm-hmm. And then I just heard this, I wasn't thinking about preaching one thing. I just heard this voice say, "I consent you to preach my gospel." And when that happened, man, it was like somebody smacked me and tears just came down my face. I fell on the floor and I said, "No, God, I don't want to play with you like that." I said, "No."
Yeah,
and then I didn't know what the word consent meant.
Facts.
So I got the big black and white Webster dictionary that my mom had. Man. I looked up consent and it said to give permission.
Yeah.
And then so that was in the 90s. I didn't do my initial sermon and didn't fully commit to God until like in 2000. Yeah. So because even then, even though I had got out of that lifestyle, I was still doing everything else I wanted to do. Still going to church, and I was, because I still had struggles.
I understand that.
And then and I did share it with my pastor, and he told me just keep doing what you're doing. That's all he said. I was like, that's it.
That's it, man.
You keep doing what you do. What else? So and then I went back years later, and I talked to him. I said that God called me, and then he said, "Okay." And then he said, "I can help you if you let me help you." I never forget that. He said, "But if you don't let me help you, I can't
help you."
Yeah. So, and he said, "Well, one thing I want to do," he said, "this generation," not talking about like the millennials or anything. He said, "But in this generation," he said, "everybody can read."
Yeah.
He said, "And you're going to be preaching to an educated generation." He said, "So I recommend you go to school." Yeah. And this guy I work with, their church, his pastor, actually Bishop Tyrone Hunter, he's retired now from St. Thomas. They had a Bible college at their church. At that time, it was called Bethlehem Bible College. And my buddy, Burley, that I worked with, he was telling me about it. And at that time, I didn't know that my pastor was on the trustee board of that school. And I told my pastor, I say, "Hey," because he brought me a pamphlet, my buddy at work. And I showed it with my pastor, and he was like, "That's where I was going to recommend you to go."
Wow.
So I started out there. I went to Bethlehem Bible College. Then Bishop Hunter, he started his own, and it was called the Living Epistle Bible College. And so I just stayed in it, and I love studying. I love the Word. And like my pastor, and like I'll never forget, Bishop Hunter said, he said, the Bible College is like shoe polish on a shoe. It's just gonna help you shine. But still, you got to do the work. So just having the degrees, you go to school, you do the work, and it wasn't so much about the degrees, but you're going to get them. And that's not going to make you a better preacher, because you got people that ain't never been to a Bible college or anything, and they can preach, and they can, because it's not so much about the schooling, but the schooling does give you education, give you understanding. So you just can't get up there, in these days and just want to holler. You got to have some substance. You got to have, something that
I like
God's word of what you're saying, so people can understand. Because people that's out there in the congregation, they like, well, that ain't what it say. Go ahead. Yeah.
No.
So I did that. Preached my initial sermon in 2004. And 2004, 5, 6, because I was already in school, so I did my initial sermon, and I was being called out, invited to preach at different churches as associate minister and everything. So did that. 2007 is when I graduated with my doctoral degree. The church that I'm still at now, they offered me the opportunity to pastor them. They asked me would I.
Wow.
And so we worked that out, and I agreed to it. And so October this year will be 16 years.
Congratulations.
Still there. And but here it is again. It hadn't been easy.
No.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah, it's just not Sunday morning.
No, it's not.
And that's what sometimes people see. They see Sunday morning, and then they want that. No, it's more to it.
It's more to it.
Yeah, and
it's a lot that goes into that.
A lot that goes into it.
Yeah. I like that you shared that, because I think sometimes people don't realize that, you're called, but it's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's a journey through that. It's so much that you have to learn. It doesn't mean instant.
That's right.
It means that there's a lot of work. So I thank you for articulating that in such a way where people will understand, like, I was called, but I was still dealing with some stuff.
Still dealing with stuff. Because we live in this body, And what I like to share with people as well is, when God saved you, everything don't leave your life instantly. Salvation is instantly. You got to grow. This is like go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's just like a child being birthed into the world.
Mm-hmm.
He or she don't start off walking.
No, not at all.
Somebody got to carry you first.
Why do you think it's so hard for us to? Why do you think the fears are there that we want to go in as this perfected individual? Like, we got to be perfect all the time. Now, I know it's growth involved.
Oh, yeah.
I remember hearing my mom used to always say, holiness takes time.
That's right.
It's a walk. It's just a lot of pain, a lot of journeys, a lot of disappointments, a lot of failures along the way. But why is it that we as humans, this human part of us, why are we so hard on ourselves and say, well, no, I ain't, man, man, it's going to be too hard. I don't want to be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I don't want to, be flawless. And, those things go through the minds of humans. But I want to know why do you think it's so difficult for us to have the discipline and actually sit there and try to get it all together from your perspective?
From my perspective, my perspective and my experience, and no shade on anybody at all.
Not at all, man.
Nobody ever taught us.
Good point.
That's one. And then the other one, we're our own worst enemy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we're our own worst enemy. Sometimes we beat ourselves up, man.
Yeah.
Because when we get saved, we think everything's going to be boom,
just out of us.
And the day that you get saved, and maybe some weeks and some months, it's like you on cloud 9. The next thing you know, you find out that your feet still touch this ground, and you still find out, man, that thoughts still come up, and you be like, man, I wasn't thinking that thought.
I wasn't thinking that thought.
And so you still And then if you don't have somebody to share with you, like you said, your mom shared with you, man, that was powerful right there.
Yeah, she did.
Man, that holiness takes time, and when, because sometimes people say, I've heard people say, you don't need to do this. You don't need the don'ts. And then and nobody tells you. Well, I'm gonna say nobody tells you.
Sure.
I didn't hear or I didn't understand that I still had to deal with my old nature.
Yeah.
And back in the days, people say the Holy Ghost make you walk right. The Holy Ghost make you talk. Holy Ghost is not going to make you. He's not going to make you do anything.
That's right.
You have to. Jesus said He'll lead and guide you. So if something will lead and guide you, that means if it's leading, you got to follow.
Yeah.
And it's your choice.
Yeah.
But I just think that we want to we want to be flawless.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
But we have to understand we won't be flawless, but we're already perfected.
Yeah.
In the eyes of God, because you can't be no more saveder or holier. You're either saved or not. And salvation is a one-time deal, but sanctification is a lifelong process. And that's what people fail to realize, but here it is again. Like my wife says, this shouldn't give us a green card to just go do what we want to do because we're saved,
not
right?
At all.
But then yet and still, everybody still has different experiences in life, which still sometimes kind of like linger or haunt, or the enemy tries to use, or your flesh. And our flesh still wants to always do the opposite of God. Your flesh, our old nature don't get saved, but and I know you understand this, but as we're talking, and maybe somebody that will see this or listen to it, what people need to understand about salvation: when you get saved, Christ destroyed the power or the authority of sin over our lives.
Yeah.
Now we have that freedom in Christ, and now sin doesn't control us, but that doesn't mean we're sinless, but we sin less. Correct. If that makes sense.
Yeah. That does make sense. I thank you for, like I said, man, you know, when I created this platform, I wanted to have these kind of conversations with just about anybody, but it just so happened, like always, what always comes back around, and I end up around preachers and and people from that believe pretty much that believe. I always get back in my same circle, but I've always wanted to have these type of conversations with individuals that would traditionally you would see them in the pulpit, but you know, I wanted to create this for this type of dialogue.
Yes, sir.
For this type of conversation to happen, because as I ask you these questions, like you said, no, I want you to answer these questions very transparent and very open and honest.
Oh yeah,
because it's for folks who may not quite understand. They may not get it. They may have fully become hopeless when it comes to church and not understanding the full meaning of the church. And if you would you take that time to kind of help people kind of understand when we say the church?
So when we say the church, what I would love people to try to understand and adopt this mindset is that it's not the building. We are the church. Every individual is a church in and of itself. Right. But I think what has happened, and what I've seen happen, you know, pastoring 16 years, and then even in my own life, sometimes we get so devoted to church, the building, the organizations, the associations, the convocations, and all that. All that is good, but what about your relationship with God? And see, sometimes we know church, but we don't know ministry. Those are two different things.
I love it.
We may know when to sit, when to stand, when it's time to pray, what prayer to pray, when to hoop, when it's time to hoop at the end of the message and all those things. But what about your relationship? And sometimes people feel that because I'm there not me, but I show up every Sunday. I'm in the choir. I'm a trustee. I'm a deacon. Well, what about your relationship with God? Because none of that is going to give you, none of your things you do in church will give you victory personally in your life. It will aid and help you, but when you're going through, you can't always sing and always shout your way through. You got to deal with some stuff. You're being a deacon, being a pastor, you know, that don't, and even being a pastor don't mean I have a greater anointing than one of my members, because there's only one anointing. And that's the Holy Spirit. It's just that we all called to function in different areas. And I think also that people that are believers and everybody, the day that you get saved, the Holy Spirit gives you a gift, but it's in seed form. And people don't understand that, and it takes time to grow and mature. And I still believe people, depending on what denomination you're part of, and I'm just being honest. Can I be transparent? Please. I can't stand denomination, because denomination is no shade on any of them, but denomination was man-made. I get it. I understand where it comes from. I know the history of it, yet and still it's man-made. And then when you have something that is man-made, then you're going to have flaws in it because of somebody's opinion. If somebody's, well, this is how we do it over here. We don't do it like that over there. Then you still got folks split. Well, that's why you have younger people and people that's been in church a long time. They're like, you know what? I don't want this no more. They'll leave this denomination, go to that denomination. Then you got a bunch of confused saints.
Or you just don't go no more.
Or you just don't go no more. So, and one thing, even I love non-denominational churches, but it's still a denomination. But yet they do have more freedom. I've seen them grow, and Pew Research shows that one of the churches that are growing is non-denomination, because they don't put a title. You know, they don't, you know, even though they still got structure, they got everything like every other church. It's just that they have that free worship.
I love that. Thank you for taking the time to share that. And the beauty of this is this. Number one, this is a great segue, as you were talking, because I know for a fact that you are a pastor that believes the work has to be done outside of the four walls.
Oh, most definitely.
So as we continue this conversation, I want to talk a little bit about your nonprofit organization.
Okay.
And also talk about the message that you have with Focus.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about how you've taken the church yourself outside of the four walls, the edifice that we look at. Let's talk about how you were able to transcend and go outside of the four walls with that.
Right. So we just started it. It's my wife and my sons and my musician, but we haven't really got into it. I got it in my head. I got it on paper.
I got you.
But focus, I know God gave it to me. It was something that I'll just be transparent. It was something that I wanted to do inside, with the church. Years ago. Sure. Here and there, meetings, blah, blah, blah. Stuff don't happen. So you know what? I looked at it now. I said, you know what? The way that it was set up, and I know God set it up, man, I didn't have to, and I love where I pastor, and I love the people.
Oh, absolutely.
But sometimes something that I may want to do with them and for them is not for them. God said, I gave it to you because I want you to be able to not have any restrictions and have to jump through hoops and so forth and have to get some approvals. So So focus, and it stands for Fostering Opportunities in Communities Uniting Services.
Yes.
So I just want our nonprofit to be a hub where people from whatever walks or lifestyles they come from, we can connect them to the resources that they need.
I love it.
And that's what I want to, that's what focus is going to be about.
Okay. Okay. And forgive me for jumping.
Oh, no. You're good. You're good. That we throw that plug in right there. So when it hits and when we start doing it, I got all the paperwork, everything's good. So I'm gonna paste that and do that. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'm so glad I brought it up.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think it's important that people understand that you're not just talking it, you're walking it too.
Right.
You know, we see so many times, so many leaders and not just church, but leaders on a whole.
Yes, sir.
Do a lot of talking and not really walking it out.
Right.
And you're walking it out. You know what I'm saying? So I love it. And let's talk about the clothing.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the clothing that you have. The clothing is pretty powerful. I've read some of the messages.
Yes, sir.
I had a chance to look at the website a little bit.
Okay.
So let's talk about the messages that you have on the T-shirts a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Again, I live in expectation. That's my brand. That's my business. I live in expectation, LLC. Mm-hmm. Again, it was in a sermon. And I used the acronym I lie, and so I live in expectation. Once again, I thought it was going to be something dealing with the church, living in expectation, and then God led me in a different direction. So, can I do a shout out?
You definitely can. Yes, it's positive.
My barber in Greensboro, Demetrius Battle.
Okay.
So I was going to him and I was telling him about it. He said, "Man, that'll go on a T-shirt, man." He said that's a good message. I was like, "For real?" So he connected me to his screen printer at the time, and he gave me his information. So connected with him. I didn't have a logo or anything. Yeah. So the screen printer was like, "Well, I'm not a designer or anything. I just screen print, but I'll just shoot you some stuff." So he shot it to me, and it's the man, standing with his arms open with the little waves on the outside. Yeah. I was like, "Yo, how much is it?" He told me how much it was. He said, "That's yours. You can have it. You just pay me for it." I was like, "All right, cool." Did that. So we started putting them on shirts and stuff, and I just so I did the website and everything, put it out there, and just the message that's how I live.
That's how you live.
I live in expectation. I live in hope, regardless of what what I go through.
Yes,
and then it's funny that you brought up the military first, because it goes back to the military. That training, I can do anything, right? I can overcome anything. Then with Christianity, I can do all things through Christ. So I did that, did the T-shirts, and then one day my wife was like, "You can cut the middleman out and do those shirts yourself." I was like, "I don't know how to screen print."
Come on.
And she said, "I'll buy you a Cricut for Christmas."
Man.
I said, I'm not that crafty person. You're the crafty person in the family. Yeah. She said, "But that's not what I want to do." So she bought me a Cricut for Christmas. I bought me the heat press.
Come on.
Went to YouTube University.
Come on.
Sat down, learned how to do the heat press and everything.
Yes.
And then so I was able to cut the middleman out.
That's right. Get him out of
there. Cut the middleman out. Did that. There. Thank them for it. I thank him for it because he helped me. They helped me. Get do the T-shirts to get them out there. But then when I learned how to do that part myself, it was just with the vinyl. And now we got other ways. I learned how to do other processes and so forth. So I was just doing it for myself. And then individuals like, well, hey, can you do this shirt for me? I said, well, let me try.
Yeah.
And then so it started with me, and then it just done its own thing. And I was like, wow, that's a beautiful thing. and that was great. And it's still great.
Yeah.
And so I'm just still just trying to find my target audience.
Yes.
Still trying to find it, because I do shirts for anybody, but I want to find that target audience to where,
that consistency.
They'll have that consistency.
I get it.
And one thing I love is just seeing what somebody wants. I like to see it coming to fruition.
Yeah,
if they got the idea for a T-shirt or a picture or something, they say, well, this is what I want. And then I sit down and then I go into my software and I design. And I hadn't even been to school to do any of that.
Come on.
I just thank God for him showing me and me, learning how to do it. I'm not the greatest, but I feel that I'm pretty good.
Yes.
And I still learn from others that I watch, and I get, asked, well, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And then, especially when people are willing to show you.
Thank you.
Well, some people don't want to show you anything. They don't want to show you. Figure it out yourself. That's in anything, Yeah, but, I'm thankful for those that have, showed me stuff, and then, researching it myself and finding out. Yeah. And so, the business, it does good. It does. And I like it. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
And I love doing it. And I just thank God that he placed, me and my family, my wife and our sons, one lives in Charlotte, one lives in Greensboro.
Gotcha.
But, because I used to work at Commonwealth Brands, which was the old American Tobacco Company.
Okay, yes,
worked there for 17 years. And we knew the handwriting was on the wall that they were going to come to Greensboro, shut us down. We understood it. But I just thank God through that when that closed down, it freed me to, because I told God, I said, God, when this closes, when it happens, I don't want to work in another manufacturing business anymore. And that was before the T-shirts and everything. So when the business closed, and, now fast forwarding it, I did get a call to come work over there and everything. But I told the human resource guy, I appreciate the opportunity. I said, but I just don't want to do that no more.
Yeah.
And and that freed me up to be able to devote myself more to the ministry, and then I didn't know that God was going to have this business opportunity for me. So and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And that God placed my family, financially in a position that I can just do this and not worry, not worry.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful, man.
Yes, sir.
This is a great conversation, and again, another great segue. I hear you talking about your family a whole lot, which I always say that's probably the purest essence of support and teamwork that you can have. So if you would, you don't have to talk a whole lot, but if you would, talk about how important that team element is when you have your family, how important that is.
Yeah. I believe that whatever family you come from, with whatever struggles you all have and things you go through, that's family.
Yeah.
But then to have that support. When nobody else supports you. And sometimes even when you think you should get support from your family and they don't, you'd be like, well, how come maybe they supporting you in a different way? Maybe they praying for you. Or maybe they just send you a text message and encourage you. And then, sometimes, I just say for me, I'm not talking about all men. I'm just saying for me, sometimes it's hard for me to listen to my wife.
Yes.
When she says this, because I'm like,
all of us, if we be honest.
Because I'm like, well, why you say that, or why you say do this, and yet still she sees something
further
that I don't see, and then I come right back around and try what she said, and then it works.
It works every time.
It works. So so that's also a growing process. And get this, I've been married going on 27 years, and I'm still learning it. So I think too, as being a man, sometimes we put that guard up. I'm the head. But being a head don't mean that you don't listen to nobody.
You got to listen to somebody.
Yeah, you got to listen. So, but that family support, I think, is great, and it is needed.
Yeah,
it is needed. And then you all feed off each other and everything. So. So, and once again, I have to give my wife credit, because if it wasn't for her saying, "Hey, I'll buy you a Cricut,"
come on, man,
I still be. I wouldn't be able to do for others in their T-shirts, because I'd be like, well, I can turn you on to who can do it,
right?
But I wouldn't be able to be a part. But now,
God has made you a resource, which is beautiful.
Which is beautiful.
Which is very, very beautiful. Listen, I got one of them good supportive wife at the crib too, so I totally get it and totally understand it. I remember when we first started doing that, and we was emailing each other because my wife is pretty straight laced when it comes to making sure things are thorough.
Yeah,
when it comes to the business aspect and making sure that we look good. So I was going back and forth with her. And then finally she came home. She was like, I'm going to do your emails for you.
Wow.
It's like, these emails, baby, no.
Yeah.
She was like, I got you.
Yeah.
So it brought structure to what we do. It brought professionalism to what we do. And then that's when you learn your partner, too. You understand your partner's strengths.
Right.
You know their weaknesses.
Right.
This is my lane. I do all the work.
Right.
I mean, technically,
yes.
I know how I want it to look.
There you go.
Now, she'll come in here and say, now, baby, you should take that down and put this up. Why don't you do this?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So you work together.
Yes, sir.
And you find that lane that one operates in.
Yes.
And that one is, because my wife will have to do this and say, hey, we got to take care of this.
Yeah.
On this, baby, so we can keep this.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you're right. And sometimes it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes.
Have those conversations.
And then, like you said, when I know my weaknesses in the areas that I'm not real good in, that she's real good in, she's like, you need to have this over here.
Yes, man.
This on this piece of paper like this.
Yes.
You need to have... you need to have an invoice.
Yes.
When it deals with like businesses and stuff.
Man.
You need to have all that, and you need to have it right. And then she showed me how to do it.
Yeah, that
and
part
she
too.
She showed me, but she taught me.
You too.
She taught me. I admit, she taught me, man.
Yeah,
so now that I do it, I'm like, hey, double check this, make sure my number's right, so I can, so I don't have to, I don't mess around and overcharge or or mess myself up.
Yes, sir.
Unless because I want to be fair to everybody.
Yeah.
And so she even told me, she was like, your t-shirts are just bland. Why don't you put some color on them? I'm like, well, I like it. It's so in that, that helped me out because what I had to learn too is when I'm doing something or making me a t-shirt, I'm making me one. But if I'm making it for somebody else,
they want a little something else.
They want a little something else. Yeah. So it's about serving. Yeah. You got to serve the customers, meet their needs. Yeah.
Yes, I totally understand.
But I had to listen. Yeah. I had to learn from her.
Sometimes it's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah, no doubt.
When we manage to pipe down and that male ego, we let it die. It's not easy.
That's right. It's not easy. Yeah.
And then once you let that male ego die, then you see, okay, you're right. Yeah. Okay, what do we need to do?
Exactly.
Because they ain't gonna bend.
No.
They are not going to bend on if they're going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be right.
That's right. Every part of it's going to be right. Yeah.
And sometimes we can be like, oh, baby, don't worry about that. We need to do this. We need to do this. And they're looking like, no, you need to take care of this first.
Exactly.
Before you do that. So, to your point, man. So thank you for sharing about that teamwork, because teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Like you say, I do all the work, and I say, well, hey, what about X, Y, and Z, and everything. She said, I'll help you, she'll say, so I put on my payroll. And she said, you ain't got to pay me. I said, no, this is what I'm going to pay you hour. You agree with that? She was like, yeah. So I said, she said, you need me today? I'm like, no, I got it today. So you go ahead. I got it. But, so, because here it is again, it allows me to get through quicker.
That's right, man.
Instead of I was just doing it all. I'm like, man, I'm doing this and doing that. And I said, well, hey, you mind doing this? So if that's my wife, but I don't want to take advantage of her because I would have to pay somebody else if I asked them and to do it.
And take care.
So it is, and then just keep it all in house.
Keep it all in house
as much as you can.
As much as you can.
That's right.
Man. That's so true. It's so valuable to have a partner too that's knowledgeable of things that you may not be knowledgeable of.
That's right.
They may have some resources.
There you go.
Definitely can be beneficial for whatever growth or whatever you're doing. It's something about having a good wife that stands out front, you know, for your man in the background, but still, she's really the one that's doing like this. Go, baby.
Even if they don't say it. Yeah,
we know it.
We know it. We know it. And then I thank God for my for both my sons, because they got friends.
Yeah.
Even though they grown, they got their own, their own lives doing their things. But then they may, hey, pops, can you do me a shirt? Or I'll just make them something because I know that they may like it.
Sure.
And if somebody sees it, guess what? That's still marketing, even though I may not even have a shirt on my website.
Easy marketing.
And then get a call, say, hey, can you do such and such? And
Yes, sir. It works.
It works.
Everything works together, man. It's beautiful. Joel, I really do appreciate this time that I've spent with you. Thank you so much. Yeah, man. Thank you so much, man. Again, for coming in and sharing, man. Again, from the beginning, I told you the premise of Ross Cloud is to help people become better through dialogue, through conversations, through all walks of life.
Walks of life, yeah.
And if you could, in closing, could you say something to somebody that could encourage them or maybe impact their life to make change? Or, maybe it's that business they sitting on. Maybe it's that idea or that next invention that they may be sitting on that could change their life. If you would, could you say something to them to empower them or impact them in any type of way? And also tell the folks how they can follow you and get in contact with you.
Okay. All right. For anybody, first of all, if you're an individual that is struggling with whatever issues, whether it's addictions or whether it's lack of support, or whether you're somebody that's just beating yourself up, you're hard on yourself, listen, I encourage you, to not be so hard on yourself, number one. The other thing, get some help if you need help. You get some therapy, go to, if you got addictions, there are resources and people out here that can help you. But also, God is there for you. God is not beating you up because he created you in his image after his likeness. God has a purpose for your life. And for those entrepreneurs and the individuals that got ideas and things, and that it's just on the inside of you, and you just can't seem to get rid of that thought, man, write it down on a piece of paper. Find somebody that will help you launch that idea out of your mind and bring it into fruition, because I still believe that God gave you that thought. God gave you that idea. That is a vision, and God wants to use you in that area to reach other people and impact their lives, because it's not just about being inside of the four walls of the church. Consider this one thing: the miracles that Jesus did, they were outside of the synagogue, outside of the church. They was out there in everyday life around people. So continue to just connect with people that share the same vision as you, right? And when it starts getting tough, when it starts getting hard, guess what? Keep pushing, keep living in expectation. Don't quit, because the road won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. That's what I say. It'll be worth it when you see it manifest, when you see it, coming to fruition. Always stay flexible, be willing to learn, be willing to listen. The greatest answer that I've received one time was no. And when I heard no, that just gave me more strength to say, you know what? It's going to happen, because just one no means there are like 1,000 yeses out there. So just keep pushing. And you can follow me on Instagram at I Live in Expectation. You can follow me on Facebook at I Live in Expectation LLC, as well as Joel Clark. You can follow our church on Facebook. It is the New St. Paul Baptist Church. We're in Eden, North Carolina, 1020 Stadium Drive. We have morning worship at 10 a.m. We're live on Facebook at 10 a.m. You can follow us there. My website is www.iliveinexpectation.org. So you can follow me, reach out to me anytime. We'll be glad to serve you, whether it's making you a T-shirt. I do one T-shirt to 500 to 5,000. Whatever you need, I got you. And just hit me up.
All right. Thank you.
I appreciate you so much. Man. I'm humbled to be here. Man, this was great. I love what you're doing and what you have. I love this.
You.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, man.
God bless
you so much.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate you, man.
No doubt.
Listen, I hope you guys have heard something today that can help you become better. Listen, remember that suicide line watch, that line 988. If you are having some troubles in your life and you need someone to talk to, there is help for you 24 hours a day. It's in English and in Spanish. Listen, make it a great day. I'm Carl Ross Sr. Peace.